A battle occurs in the clouds. From the top of the mountain, a group of warriors fights among themselves. The blue group is pressing the red ones as they won't be able to hold on much longer. Soma is lying on the ground during the fight, but finally he wakes up. The protagonist doesn't know where he is. The last time he saw himself in a restaurant. At this moment, the boy realizes what's happening, and he has no idea who these people are or what is going on. Suddenly, his head starts to hurt a lot. An almost unbearable pain. A torrent of information from a different life floods in all at once. Images of a boy leaving his village to climb a mountain and try to become immortal. He also sees a bully, along with the beating he took. The same bully, thinking the protagonist is useless, steals his necklace, then throws him to the ground. Right after that, the ship departs without our hero and disappears into the endless horizon. All this information was placed in his head at once. The protagonist then supposes that maybe he has traveled through time. According to his memories, he is just a Kainiwan disciple who was abandoned during a battle against other groups. Maybe it's not the time to think about these things, but at least his team won the fight. At this moment, something seems to be happening on the horizon. From the sky, a huge lightning bolt cuts through the mountains. One of the warriors recognizes it as the guardian dragon of the mountain. At that moment, the protagonist turns just in time, and he sees a huge jade-colored creature. The dragon prepares an attack. A lightning bolt pierces one of the flying ships, but the protagonist finds himself in a bad situation. All he can do is run desperately. Then a great explosion occurs from the impact. Our hero is thrown far away. The flames almost consumed him. At that moment, the protagonist sees something in front of him. A message appears saying that the host is in a high-risk environment, therefore the critical attack system has been activated. For a second, the hero is confused. Then he wonders about the meaning of the critical attack message. Without an answer, the protagonist demands that someone talk to him. He just wanted at least a user manual for what he is seeing. The warriors fighting the dragon order their group to retreat. Our hero doesn't even know what to do, staring at that group with their flying swords. But at that moment, one of the enemies seems to spot him. The protagonist then takes the opportunity to run while he still has time. Luckily, something huge falls beside him and almost hits him. Our hero bounces like a rubber ball across the desert. His luck is that he only hurts his back. From inside the ship, a girl comes out carrying a sword. Our hero doesn't even know how to react. Without changing pace, the woman walks toward him. She hints that she is happy to see someone alive. But without strength, she falls face first to the ground. The protagonist has no idea what she wants. The girl grabs his foot. Then, she begs to be saved and says her name is Li Wushuang, that she is the daughter of the Great Elder, and that she cannot be captured by the enemy. But the protagonist says he's just a regular guy and can't protect anyone. At that moment, two enemy soldiers come toward our hero. The protagonist is left with few options, so he chooses to try to help the girl. He picks the girl up in his arms and borrows her sword. At that moment, he summons a flying blade. With an explosion of light, they flee into the skies. The enemies seeing this scene decide to chase them, but one of the warriors is not willing to let that happen. He orders his men to go after him and leave no witnesses. But the protagonist is so fast that they are all left behind. His pursuer can't believe what he just saw. With the girl in his arms, our hero flies as far as possible from the battlefield. But there is a problem with that. His speed is causing critical attack. That's something he didn't expect, but at least it means they are going to escape. Later, in another biome, our hero believes he has shaken off his pursuers, but in return, he is already exhausted. At that moment, the girl also wakes up. She seems a little confused and wonders where she is. The hero says he is just going as far away as possible from where they were. Lai says that's not enough. Now that the Broken Dragon group has won, they will come after her no matter where she is. Suddenly, the girl realizes that they are no longer flying. The protagonist says that his spiritual energy has run out, which is the reason they are standing still. Right after that, they land on the ground, and she is able to stand on her own feet. But unfortunately, the girl finds herself without strength. At that moment, when she touches her savior, she feels his energy. What impresses Lai is that the boy is at a very low level, and he managed to save her. Meanwhile, the hero is more concerned about taking the girl back to their sect. But Lai says that there is a traitor among the Kanuan who brought down her ship and poisoned her, and because of that, she won't recover for some time. They don't have much choice but to keep walking. Both of them start walking through the forest. Lai then grabs a bag and takes something out of it. She shows him a talisman. The girl explains that to activate it, one has to use aura. This talisman can block spiritual sense to a certain extent, but it can't stop high-level cultivators. Focusing, the protagonist manages to burn the amulet with his aura. Successfully, the talisman is activated. Now he shouldn't have any more problems. The protagonist believes that as long as they stay in the forest, they will remain hidden. Lee points out that there should be allies to the east. Meanwhile, the pursuers find it hard to believe that someone of such a low level could have gotten this far. The possibility that the girl caused the escape is quickly dismissed because she is poisoned. The jade-colored dragon is also flying, and around it, it is surrounded by flying soldiers. The leader of the group is now asking whether the girl has already been captured. One of the soldiers then goes to give his report. The master believes that they must be hiding in the mountains. He then gets furious and searches for her with his energy. From atop the dragon, several energy spheres fly out in all directions. The protagonists, at this moment, are hiding behind a tree, while the dragon flies over their heads. Lei believes there might be a formation hunting them too, and a simple talisman won't hide them forever. The protagonist makes the girl stay quiet, and the dragon finally goes away. By some miracle, they still haven't been detected. The elder asks whether the boy they were looking for is really someone of low level. His disciples say they were also surprised by the speed of the boy they were chasing, but it's certain that his aura isn't very strong. With this information, the master believes that the girl must be using a talisman to hide them. His men then ask for guidance on how to proceed. The orders are to bring as many men as possible and search every corner until they are found. The soldiers of the broken dragon are still searching for the protagonists. To help, they're using tracking magic, but the protagonist knows that if this continues, it won't stay hidden for long. One of the pursuers seems to sense something. The hero notices this too, but the man concludes that it was just his imagination. With that, they are alone again. Lai then wants to continue the journey before they come back, but suddenly, our hero holds her and covers her mouth so she doesn't make any noise. At that moment, another patrol passes over their heads. Our hero believes something is wrong because more and more of them are appearing. The worst part is that he doesn't know what is triggering his critical mode all the time, and this could turn into a disaster. Lai then wonders what they can do now. Our hero knows they can't keep moving forward because the net is closing in. Basically, all the pursuers are coming from the front. The enemy probably already knows they are trying to escape to the east, so the best option would be to go in the opposite direction. The fugitives keep hiding in the bushes. Unfortunately, they also encounter an enemy in that direction. Our hero wasn't prepared to see reinforcements in this area as well. In an open field, it's easy for someone to spot them. Maybe the best option would be to increase their speed and force an escape. But even that isn't guaranteed. The enemy will chase them forever as long as there are tracks, not to mention the reinforcements that are arriving. The situation is very bad. Lee asks if it wouldn't be better for them to take a detour. Our hero says they don't have time for that. The net is closing in and the only logical way out is to eliminate the man in front of them. But the girl says that man is at a level above the hero's power, but the boy says they don't have a choice. He then takes a scrap from her dress. With this piece of cloth, they are tied together so he can fight without having to carry her. Despite the embarrassment, Lee agrees. With increased speed, they head into battle. At the same moment, the enemy notices their presence and sees the protagonist coming toward him. But the warrior finds it absurd that someone so weak dares to face him. The man thinks they are underestimating him. In midair, the blades clash. At that moment, critical hits start counting again. But the protagonist's determination does not allow him to stop. The soldier can't believe that someone with such a weak aura can be so strong. At this moment, the protagonist wins the exchange of blows, with the critical hit counting as 10 times his weight. Our hero can only feel lucky not only for winning but also for gaining some loot. Then the hero hands the pouch to Lai so she can check what's inside for him. Apparently, the guy only had some status and health pills, but it seems the guy was quite rich. The good thing is that now they have a way to restore our hero's aura. The protagonist then swallows the pill. Immediately, they fly again at high speed. Apparently, the restoration effects were really strong. They quickly disappear over the horizon. The master and his men find the defeated soldier. They assume that the warrior tried to face the opponent alone but didn't even have time to react to the powerful attack. But the leader is having trouble believing that all this mess was caused by someone supposedly at an apprentice level. One of his men is even afraid to speak. The master orders all of his disciples to capture the girl at any cost, and whoever succeeds will be well rewarded for it. Our heroes then continue their journey on foot, but unfortunately, they see their pursuers in the sky again, and the hero knows that those are just guarding the perimeter. The real danger is coming by land. A noise is heard among the mountains. In the middle of the search party, a giant bird appears. The protagonist is frightened by what he sees. The girl says it is a beast bird and that they are in its territory. This mountain is full of creatures. If these soldiers are still searching for her, it's because there is a reward, the hero thinks. Our heroes also wonder why the dragon hasn't shown up yet to help. Lai explains that there is an agreement between the group of humans and the beasts, and sending the leader to this region would be a provocation against that treaty. The good thing is that they won't have to deal with that problem for now. But it seems like something is wrong with Lai. She has only just realized that they won't be able to escape. Lin finds it strange that she suddenly became so sad. The girl says that the mountain they are in is very big and full of beasts that can show up at any moment and finish them off. The protagonist then asks if they should surrender. She says that she is the successor of the Grantia group, and if the enemies want her alive, is to use her against her uncle, and that cannot happen. Lin is already starting to get irritated. The girl doesn't want to run, but she also doesn't want to surrender. The girl looks at her own sword and makes a decision. She asks her savior to leave without her. This way, when the Duolong sect finds her lifeless, they won't bother looking for a nobody. But the protagonist decides that if Lee wants to see her grandfather or something like that, she should do it personally. Lin is tired of everyone underestimating his abilities just because he hasn't reached the Foundation realm. After taking the pill, his health rises quickly. The protagonist starts to understand that no matter what he does, he can trigger a critical hit even when he is healing. This way, he can increase the pill's effect by up to 10 times. Once again, the hero takes another pill. Lai thinks he is being crazy. The cultivation speed has increased 9-fold, but the girl thinks it's very risky. But when she touches him, she feels something different. Lee feels that his spiritual power keeps growing non-stop. Not even she, with her talent, is capable of cultivating that fast. Suddenly, the protagonist awakens, and somehow it seems that the experiment was a success. Lai doesn't understand how he can extract all the condensed energy from the pill, but she wants to know how he did it. The protagonist simply guesses that his body must be stronger than others. But for her, that doesn't explain anything. Meanwhile, somewhere else on the mountain, the Dulong group, along with one of the spiritual scouts, seems to have sensed something. Lin tells the girl that now that he has reached the foundation mastery level, they will be able to escape. With super speed, he carries the girl far away. Meanwhile, she can't believe what this guy is capable of doing in such a short time. A man named Deacon wants to know where the fugitives are. Intimidated by speaking to someone of royalty, he explains that the trail they were following suddenly disappeared along with the footprints. Deacon immediately notices the marks on the trees. The man finds it strange because they were chasing someone of low level, unless he is just advanced right now. He orders everyone on the search team to look from this point of reference. Lin continues moving at high speed, but his leg accidentally breaks a branch. The girl says that if he keeps using spiritual power the way he is, the protagonist will quickly burn out. Our hero says he never had anyone to teach him properly. Lai explains that spiritual power is the essence of all things, and after reaching foundation mastery, it can help carry burdens and protect the mind. Under her guidance, she asks him to try to force it and distribute it throughout his body instead of using it all at once. At that moment, a critical understanding effect times 13 is triggered. All the energy flows through his body in a more natural way. Even his jumps become more powerful. Lin says he can feel it now. It's as if his spiritual power flows through his body like armor. Once again, she finds it incredible how fast he is able to absorb knowledge. Somehow, he manages to understand things instantly, unlike her. But Lin's mind is already dealing with another problem. They are heading toward a river with a huge bear. Besides that, the animal is eating. Both scream in despair when they realize where they are about to fall. Luckily, the protagonist manages to use the beast's head as a trampoline. The one who's really not happy is the bear, which decides to chase the protagonists. The fierce bear runs after our heroes. Lai recognizes that this monster is as strong as a soldier who has reached foundation mastery. The real problem is that the bear is very noisy. Meanwhile, the soldiers on watch spot an explosion on the horizon. One of the soldiers believes that this chaos must be caused by the person they are looking for. At this moment, Lai realizes that they have been spotted. With no other option, the protagonist knows that all they can do now is fight. And at that very moment, the demon bear catches up to them. Lin then increases his speed up to 8 times and escapes the attack. Without any doubt, the pursuers spot the heroes fleeing. One of the warriors is frightened by what he sees. The person he is witnessing is much more terrifying than he expected. Lin passes by all the warriors like an arrow. The warriors were looking for an apprentice, but this speed belongs to someone who has already achieved foundation mastery. One of the pursuers, using his tracking magic, manages to confirm his suspicions. But to avoid discouraging the group, he says that the protagonist is still a novice and will tire quickly. Still hopeful, they continue the chase. Lai, who is on lookout, warns that they are about to be caught. The protagonist asks her not to panic, they are almost there. But the 3 pursuers are already very close to catching them. One of the soldiers gets excited upon confirming that yes, the boy they are chasing is not a master. The leader of the group orders his men to surround them, get rid of the protagonist, and make sure the girl is safe. At that moment, a long golden wing enters the scene. A bird grabs one of the men mid-flight, and on top of that, more birds are on the way. One of the creatures attacks the group without hesitation. It seems there is a nest of demon birds nearby. The protagonist is also about to be attacked, but at the last moment, Lin manages to dodge the attack. One of the pursuers sees this scene and gets angry. Then he launches an attack against our heroes. The girl alerts the protagonist to dodge, but Lin uses his sword to reflect the attack. Not even his attacker can believe he saw a perfect defense, and he watches the attack from his enemy coming back at him. Not even his shield can withstand the impact he received. The man can't understand how he, who is at the 7th level of foundation mastery, couldn't win this fight. On top of that, the birds come attacking him. Lin notices that his pursuers are very busy fighting for their lives at the moment. The protagonist believes that if he can shake this group off in the forest, he still has a chance. But it's still too early to have hope. A new pursuer appears and he is much faster than the others. It's Deacon on a flying cloud. Lai recognizes the man as a young elder in the nascent stage. The protagonist understands that this situation is very bad. The difference between them is huge. The girl asks if the hero can dodge his attacks like before, but Lin says that won't be possible. The nascent stage is way higher than his level. Then the girl asks to be used as a human shield. Our hero even seems against it at first, but she reminds him that this is the only way out. Deacon is sure that his target won't be able to escape now. He charges forward with an attack from his sword. But at the same moment, Lai Wuxuang is used as a shield. Surely Deacon was not expecting that. The protagonist takes advantage of the opening and launches a counterattack. Lin manages to land his strike. Deacon can't understand how someone at such a low level like this boy managed to injure him. Our hero seizes the opportunity and continues his escape. Lin Jing can't stop thinking that he has never seen such a high critical hit minus 30 times is absurd. On the other hand, the girl is almost jumping for joy that her plan worked. But even she can't believe how well the protagonist performed. He simply replies that it was luck and that he knew how to take advantage of the opening she provided at the critical moment. Lai says that now they will be able to escape. In the Demon Clan's territory, their enemies won't dare to pursue them here. As she says that, they see a giant firebird. The protagonist thinks they should still be careful, just as a precaution. With that decided, they leave the skies and enter the forest. In the temple of the Kanyuan sect, Lai Changqing receives the news about the shipwreck. In disbelief, he wants to know where his daughter is, and his men say she still hasn't been found and that there is also news of a disciple who managed to escape, but that's all. Furious, the chief orders everyone to go rescue her, because the girl is the future of the Kanyuan sect, the one who will inherit everything. Another man appears just in time and asks his brother to calm down. Lai Changji believes the enemy is not with his daughter since they haven't made any threats so far, and the man suspects this is because of that disciple. A little calmer, Lai Changqing accepts his brother's words and orders elite warriors to be mobilized to search for his daughter. The one who takes on this responsibility is Lai Changji. The leader says that ever since the sect master ascended, they've had a lot of problems and his father is injured, so he doesn't trust anyone except his brother. In response, he says that he will personally provide the manpower. After these words, he departs. In the great capital of the kingdom, someone comments that horned lizard skin is excellent material for making leather armor, while others trade spiritual pills. It is also heard that the Jiangmen sect, whose master owed a lot, fled with his sister-in-law, and with no choice, those who remained had to sell weapons to pay the debt. Lin Jing and the girls spent the last week running from mountain monsters, but thanks to their new abilities, they finally returned to civilization. The protagonist warns the girl that even though they are no longer in Broken Dragon territory, they are still in danger. She then suggests that they first buy detox pills and then look for information about the sect. At that moment, a vendor approaches them, but he gives up when he smells the terrible odor coming from both of them. Amazingly, neither of them had noticed, and after so much time in the mountains, they had gotten used to it. The vendor then yells, kicking the two beggars out. Our hero says that the first thing they need to do is rent a room and wash up. The disciples in this region, luckily, gave them enough money to get by. While Lin Jing continues hiding the girl, he will be well rewarded by the Kanyuan clan. Then it's just a matter of finding a quiet place to train and advancing through the Golden Core and Nascent Soul stages until reaching Divine Transformation and entering the Void Refinement stage, finally reaching the peak of what the most beautiful and healthy life can offer. A door opens and someone enters the room. Lai Wuxuang is finally clean and freshly bathed, causing a critical hit from a racing heart in the protagonist. The girl notices that something is wrong and asks what's happening to him. Trying to hide the shock caused by her beauty, he says he's just worried about the trip they have to take. First, Lai Wuxuang wants to find a cure for her poisoning. After all, she is at the Golden Core stage, so she can be useful in dangerous moments. She has the idea of going back to the market where they were. Maybe there they can find the pills they need. But our hero thinks that her appearance draws too much attention, so it might be better if she disguises herself. At that moment, she pulls out a cloth and puts a transparent veil over her face. But our hero believes it would be safer to make her look dirty again. Lai Wuxuang doesn't like that idea at all. Back at the city market, the same vendor from before recognizes our heroes and is already coming to kick them out. But as soon as he gets close, he becomes speechless. The girl wants to know what he was about to say, so the vendor tries to cover it up and asks her to come closer because he has all kinds of items for sale. Lai Wuxuang asks the man to show the best antidotes he has. The man first says that he needs to know what type of poison she is dealing with. Our hero then steps forward and says that he was injured by a monster in the mountains and doesn't know what he's dealing with, so he wants to see all the possible pills. If that's the case, the vendor says he'll go get them. 5 minutes later, he returns. Lin Jing asks if any of these potions are useful, but the girl says they are all too low level for what she needs. Our hero asks if that's all the vendor has. The man says his city is small, and these items are the best they have. Lin Jing then has the idea of combining the potions using his critical hit ability. With that, the protagonist decides to buy some antidotes and a book. Obviously, the man is very grateful for the sale. Lai Wuxuang doesn't understand why her companion made this purchase. To her, all this material is useless. Our hero doesn't think that way. He then asks her not to move. Even though she takes the pill reluctantly, the girl still thinks it's not going to have any effect. The medicine is so strong that she even chokes on it. Lai Wuxuang is already losing patience with the boy's stubbornness, but the protagonist insists that she waits for the medicine to take effect. At that moment, the detoxification effect triggers a critical hit times 8. Lai Wuxuang starts to think that her savior's behavior is getting bolder. In a short time, he's already starting to take advantage of her. But when she realizes it, the poison's effect has already been partially reduced with just one low-level pill. She tries to take it again, but this time it doesn't work. Maybe it only works when he gives her the medicine. Lai Wushuan can't understand what kind of strange ability this is. Embarrassment starts to show on her face. She demands to know what kind of strange power Lin Jing has, but he shamelessly says he doesn't know what she's talking about, leaving the girl even more annoyed. But she needs the pills. Against her will, she asks him to give her the medicine directly into her mouth. But this sight ends up defeating our hero's heart. He gives up teasing her and just throws the pill for her to take quickly. The recovery effect is instant. Lai Wushuan finds it amazing how it actually worked. But after restoring her Kai to the level of an apprentice, she can't bear to ingest any more pills. Our hero notes that even with his ability, low-level medicine has its limits. Maybe if he uses his powers to alter the form, he can get better results. This is the city's alchemy furnace. The protagonist heard that there is only one alchemist in town, which is why he's always busy. Lai Wushuan wonders if her partner knows what he's doing, but our hero says he read everything he needed from the little book he bought. The girl doesn't like the idea. Alchemy is complicated, but the boy seems pretty confident. The man who works at the furnace asks for the fire to be lit. With the pills ready, he analyzes his work and considers them to be of good quality. Because of this, the alchemy master announces that this item will cost 8 spiritual coins, but the buyers think it's unfair because they had already agreed on a price of 6. The man justifies himself by saying that the product is high level, and if they don't want it, they can go buy from someone else. One of the people at the market gets furious with the alchemist's behavior, but since he's the only supplier, the man can do whatever he wants because that's how capitalism works. Lin Jing then asks for permission to use the furnace since that's the only thing he's interested in there. But the man is already worried about the possibility that another alchemist has appeared in the city. Our hero comments that he just wants to try doing something for himself since the furnace is public, so he asks them to make space for him. The master finds the boy's request fair and he will let him use the equipment if he pays 500 spirit stones for disturbing his work. Lai Wushuan gets furious about this, especially since the cauldron is public in the first place. Since they refuse to pay, the man threatens to call the officials on them. The other people there watching this scene also take the protagonist's side, since no one thinks it's right for the man to act like everything there belongs to him. The master doesn't like this at all. Out of spite, he says he will raise the prices even more when this mess is over. After a while, the soldiers arrive. The one in charge says he's already aware of the situation. He just wants to know if our hero is capable of refining the pills, and Lin Jing says yes. The master says that he will be losing money because of this, and if the boy isn't capable of doing anything, he wants compensation for his wasted time. To make matters worse, the man is certain that our hero must be, at best, a beginner. The leader of the soldiers finds the alchemist's request reasonable and asks if Lin Jing has any objections, but the protagonist agrees to the terms. Whether he likes it or not, our hero has entered a game. Lin Jing already has all the ingredients he needs to make the detoxification pill. Now he puts all the items into the cauldron. Upon seeing our hero consulting the book, the alchemist master is quite happy to have his proof that he's dealing with a rookie. Other adventurers have the same thought when they see this scene, even though they still have hope that the boy will break the city's medicine monopoly. Our hero then activates his ability. His alchemy technique is activated with the critical effects 7 times more powerful. One of the men comments that the protagonist does seem to know what he's doing. Out of the furnace come the pills. The master still hopes that those medicines are useless. Lin Jing believes it worked because during the entire preparation process, several critical hits were activated. Our hero presents the result. The adventurers watching are impressed that he managed to make high-level detox pills using only basic items. The one who finds it unbelievable is the alchemist. Even his apprentice comments that his master has trouble making something similar. But the man thinks it was just luck, and right after he demands the cauldron back. But everyone there desperately wants to buy the medicines from our protagonist. Our hero thinks the situation is perfect. If he makes some sales, he can get money to buy more materials. Since he now has more experience with refining, Lin decides to take a risk on something more advanced. The critical effect he reaches now is 25 times more in alchemy. Our hero already predicts that the effects will now be incredible. The pills he produces are at such a high level that it's rare to see, and people start to believe the boy is a rare master alchemist. These pills are so rare that the bids for them start at 200 spirit stones. Our hero says the price is fixed, so there's no need to fight over them. But everyone there doesn't want just one. Some want 10. Others want all that are for sale. The alchemist threatens everyone present that if anyone buys anything from our hero, he will raise his item prices 10 times in the future. But none of the adventurers are intimidated since they've just found a new master who is 10 times better than the old one. Almost exploding with rage, he says he will remember everything that is happening. Lin tells everyone that he's done for today, but he'll be back tomorrow. Best of all, the protagonist is already practically rich. But our hero is then surrounded by some masked men. The alchemist says he doesn't want to see the boy's face again, but Lin finds it pretty bold of the old man to threaten him like that. But the captain shows up right at the moment this situation is happening. Trying to fix the situation, the man says it's all a misunderstanding. The leader of the soldiers leaves as a warning, but next time he promises to show the meaning of the word punishment. Our hero thanks the soldier, but the man says there's no need for that. What he wants is to negotiate with the boy to stay permanently in the square. But Lin says he'll consider it, so the captain says if he has any problems, he's there to help. Lai Wushuang asks if her partner is really thinking about staying, but our hero explains that they've just arrived in the city and are already offending a bunch of people. What he's doing is basically social work. Then he grabs her by the hand. All excited, the protagonist wants to show her the new pills he made exclusively for her. Now they're back in the room. Lin Jing asks how her body is reacting to the effects of the new medication. She says that she has recovered her supply up to the foundation level, but the effects of the poison are still there, and apparently, our hero will have to keep improving his alchemy. The protagonist needs to level up his cultivation as quickly as possible. Lai Wushuang once again witnesses the man in front of her absorbing energy at an insanely fast rate. After some time, our hero feels that he has reached the second level of foundation. The girl can't hold it in anymore. How can someone evolve so fast? Lai Wushuang demands to know how he manages to shorten the learning curve for everything so quickly. The protagonist tries to say it's just luck, but she doesn't believe that story. While they talk, a paralysis resistance message pops up. Immediately, this notification catches our hero's attention. Somehow, they are being attacked. The girl faints, but he can still stand and looks for whoever is responsible. Lin notices gas coming from under the door. A new critical hit is triggered, spiritual detection. There's no doubt they are under attack. A disguised man is responsible. Lin increases his speed and goes in to attack from behind. But unfortunately, the man manages to defend himself. However, he realizes he's dealing with someone dangerous, and even while defending, the blade pierces him. The damage turns out to be fatal. Our hero finishes with a kick. Lin takes advantage of the fact that his attacker is still alive and interrogates him. The man begs to be let go because if anything happens to him, it will be a declaration of war against whoever sent him. Our hero doesn't fall for the lie and threatens the man to speak the truth, or his pain will be much worse, triggering a critical intimidation effect. Terrified, the man says his boss is affiliated with a sect and that they are after the girl. But before he can finish his sentence, he feels something wrong. With a scream of pain, the man is being poisoned. Our protagonist realizes that the damage is from some magical effect. He tries to move, but his arm falls lifeless. A tragic end for someone like him. The person who sent this man surely already knows that their soldier failed the mission. Our hero was sure the rest of the escort journey would be easy, but apparently someone in her position is always in danger. Lin then picks up the man's items from the ground and triggers a harvest critical of only 2 times, which the protagonist thinks is pretty bad compared to what he's used to. More importantly, they need to leave now. Our hero can't risk someone even stronger being sent to catch them. Lin Jing runs through the city with the girl in his arms, but she ends up waking up along the way, still a bit confused. The protagonist tells her they're after her. He's just not sure if it's because they've already discovered Lai Wushuang's true identity. But another ninja who was sent had been eavesdropping on the conversation and was quite surprised by the information he just heard. Lin Jing hadn't even noticed him arriving. The girl, on the other hand, recognizes the man's outfit and knows that he belongs to the Wuji clan. She then asks the hero to put her down. Lai Wushuang says that this man's clan and the Broken Dragon are allies and that they fight against the Qianyuan sect, but what she didn't expect was to meet them in this city. The man is very pleased with his luck. All he wants is for the girl to surrender without making a scene, or else he will hurt her. And that idea seems very pleasant to him. Besides, he knows that Lai Wushuang is poisoned and can't defend herself, and the bodyguard with her doesn't look like much. When our hero looks at the girl, she has a furious snake-like expression. The protagonist just wanted to make money and have a comfortable life, but every time he has to risk his life, and now she wants him to fight someone much stronger than him. Trying to ease the situation, the man says that our hero is young, has a promising future, and it was a miracle he even made it this far. And he appreciates people like the protagonist. That's why he will let Lin Jing leave. The man asks him not to be surprised because even though our hero is skilled, they are on completely different levels. It would be a waste to end a life with so much potential. And as for the safety of Lai Wushuang, she is very important, so the girl will be well taken care of. The girl seems worried about the situation. Our hero has a question to ask. He wants to make sure that if he leaves the girl, then the man will let him go. Once again, the man promises that the protagonist will be able to leave safely. For a second, the protagonist stays silent. Then he places his hand on his sword. In the end, the hero refuses the offer. After all, Lin Jing enjoys doing exactly the opposite of what people ask him to do. Not to mention that our hero already made up his mind that he is the one who will take the girl home. It's not like the protagonist has never fought someone stronger before. Surely the warrior wasn't expecting this. Since that's how it is, he's going to make sure the boy feels pain before finishing him off. Lai Wushuang gets a little worried since the opponent is in the Jindan stage, but the one who doesn't seem very impressed is the protagonist. Our hero says that he will be forced to use his special move. The man gets tense for a second at the possibility that the boy has a deadly strike. Lin Jing takes a deep breath and yells as loudly as possible for help, shouting that there's a thief in the market. The warrior is already losing it, realizing the boy is making a fool of him. At the same moment, the man charges at the hero, but Lai Wushuang steps right in front and dares the man to hurt her. Being hidden behind a woman makes the guy even angrier. At that moment, people start appearing along with soldiers. and the one leading them is the same captain from before. The people seeing the commotion recognize that it's the new alchemist asking for help. The captain approaches, saying that this area is not a place to fight, but the warrior throws a threatening look. And when the captain recognizes that the man is someone of a high level, he gets very scared. The man pulls out a talisman from the Wuji clan. He says he's dealing with an internal matter, and if nobody wants to get hurt, then they better step away. Everyone present is confused about how the protagonist got into trouble with someone so dangerous. One of the soldiers advises his captain that it's better if they leave than mess with someone this dangerous. To turn the situation around, Lai Wushuang reveals that she is the granddaughter of the Qianyuan elder and also the eldest daughter of the same family. At that moment, more warriors show up in the square armed because they know this girl was missing and her clan is at war. Everyone there knows very well who she is and her importance. Even the soldiers know that messing with Qianyuan is a mistake. Lai Wushuang is feeling very proud of herself. To top it off, the girl promises that her father will reward everyone who helps her in this situation. She believes that if everyone unites, they can defeat someone at the Jindan level. The adventurers who hear her speak get really excited about the offer. For normal people like them, being rewarded by Qianyuan personally is something rare. The warrior says that opportunities always show up in life, but those who die have no chance to do anything else. The man also says that the Qianyuan are about to fall with the alliance of the Wuji, Broken Dragon, and Heavenly Calamity clans. For him, the future of the girl's sect is uncertain. He also warns everyone present that if they attack him, they will be offending these three allied clans. With that speech, everyone's courage disappears. One of the soldiers asks the captain what they should do since any movement now will offend one of the clans. That's why the man decides not to help either side. Even though this decision seems to leave him frustrated, the captain announces that he will not get involved in their conflict. Lai Wushuang is disappointed with the soldier's cowardice. And the worst part is that the warrior can't help but burst into laughter. Since the situation got tight, the protagonist challenges the man to a duel. The people watching know that the alchemist is nowhere near the opponent he wants to face. Even Lai Wushuang thinks this is not the best option right now, but the protagonist says he's pretty confident that he can defeat his opponent. The warrior hears this and becomes curious about how the hero intends to win without hiding behind a woman. He finds it quite offensive that someone of such a low level thinks he can beat him. Lin Jing says he will win because his opponent underestimates him too much. Without thinking twice, the man attacks to end the fight at once. Both think the warrior is very fast. The protagonist now relies completely on his system. Lin Jing manages to keep up with the movements. At the same time the man advances, our hero is counterattacking. Somehow, if the warrior does nothing, he's the one who will get stabbed first. With no choice, he dodges the blade. Now it's Lin's chance. He lands a speed critical. The man can't believe the boy is faster than him. The two blades clash in the air, but the warrior is under pressure. Lin Jing now needs strength. The warrior starts to panic when he feels his opponent's strength. With an attack critical, our hero lands the blow. Not even the warrior's spiritual defense was able to stop the attack, but it's still not enough. Even the protagonist is impressed that the man is still alive, and he's really angry. With his energy, the warrior pushes our hero away. The people watching comment that the warrior's power level makes his body almost indestructible. This time he's going to fight with all of his strength and energy. He summons the demonic black sword, a stronger magic from Wuji. Lin Jing believes it's time to end this fight. Then he heads toward his opponent. Now he needs a defense, strength, and speed critical, all at once. The spectators can't believe that our hero wants to face the black sword head-on. Lin Jing charges into the fight without hesitation, but all he sees is the enormous blade. Their clash causes an explosion in the square. Not even the warrior can believe that his opponent jumps straight into his magic. Taking the opportunity, Lin attacks. With low defense, the blade strikes him. The protagonist already receives the spoils from his opponent. Those watching can't believe what their eyes have witnessed. At that moment, a soul signal is activated. Its function is to transmit a message to the clan about the defeat of one of its members. The protagonist warns that it's better for them to leave before another Wuji shows up. Even saying that, our hero's body is very tired after the fight. Maybe it's the consequence of using and abusing his abilities. The captain then receives a message. It seems the city lord wants to see our heroes. Lin Jing becomes suspicious, but the soldier promises that the meeting will be just a conversation. But the protagonist prefers to leave, and he warns that it's better no one tries to stop him. The man explains that it's already too late for them to run. The Wuji clan will soon catch up, but if they are inside the mansion, the group will be safe. Injured and tired with few options, Lin Jing accepts the offer to talk to the City Lord. Inside the Wuji clan, the orders are to bring the girl back and get rid of the boy. What appears to be a battalion of soldiers roars at the orders. Now back at the Lord's castle, our heroes are face to face with the person who summoned them. Kai Fengshin welcomes them to his humble residence. Lin Jing, in a hurry, asks the Lord to get straight to the point. Kai says that he has before him a genius who defeated a member of the Wuji and a wanted target by 3 major clans, and if he turned them in, the reward would be great. The protagonist takes this as a challenge and releases his impressive aura, which leaves the captain of the soldiers speechless. But the Lord says he is only provoking. His real intention is to make a deal. On his part, he offers help to keep them alive. Lin wants to know why he would help them. Kyo replies that the protagonist reminds him of his late son. But it's a joke again. What he really wants is the help of our hero in a mission that will take place 3 months from now. Our hero then agrees to the terms. The Lord says they have to stay in the mansion for 3 days. Meanwhile, he will use his resources against the Wuji. But after that, they are on their own. Lin Jing then agrees with him. With the end of the meeting, they leave the hall. In 3 months, the fate of Kishan City will be in the hands of our hero, and the Lord hopes he made the right choice. Lai Wushuang is still very worried about the situation, even though they are protected. In 3 days, they will be surrounded. The protagonist remembers that he gained a technique after defeating his last opponent. He reminds the girl that he's a true genius. Our hero is counting on his critical ability again. With his power, he unlocks learning at 20 times the normal speed. He flips through the pages of the book incredibly fast. With that, he has already learned the technique. Not even Lai Wushuang can understand how impressive that is. But for him, nothing is impossible. Lin Jing creates an illusion with his new ability. Somehow, that she doesn't understand, our hero was able to create 2 high-level phantom puppets. But the protagonist seems exhausted. His spiritual energy is completely depleted, so he plans to use these 3 days to improve the technique. Outside the walls, something else is happening. The city is surrounded by several warriors. The elder of the Wuji announces that he came to capture 2 people. At that moment, the gates open. By order of the Lord, the captain asks the members of the Wuji clan to wait outside for 3 days. After that, they can do whatever they want. But the warriors find it outrageous that a small city like this defies their clan. The elder orders everyone to shut up. The command makes everyone go completely silent. For some reason, the leader of the Wuji agrees to wait for the 3 days. But before entering, the elder advises the captain's lord to take care of his health. Then the gates close. Confused, the warriors want to know why they are trembling before such a simple city. But the elder says that Kishan is not such a basic place. Unless absolutely necessary, he does not want to provoke Lord Kie Fengshan. Meanwhile, Lin Jing is training. Our hero can already create 2 pairs of phantoms, but he still has to learn to manage his strength so that he can control them. With these pills, Lin can use them to improve his cultivation stage. He then swallows all of them at once. Instantly, there is an explosion of energy. The protagonist doesn't want to waste this energy, so he goes back to focusing. Lai Wushuang finds it amazing how the protagonist is evolving quickly and becoming stronger and stronger. She starts wondering about the reasons our hero is on this escort mission. At that moment, Lin Jing awakens again. Now he has reached the 3rd level of the foundation stage. With that, it will not be difficult for him to control the phantoms. The protagonist asks the girl to get ready, because they are going to leave this city tonight. Without moving, the Wuju warriors remain on guard. Suddenly, they spot 2 people escaping over the rooftops. Quickly, the chase begins. The elder casts a spell from his hand. The light flies toward the target like an arrow. Without difficulty, the spell hits them. But the Lord already knew that they were phantom puppets. The trick is undone easily, since the elder would never fall for something so simple. 2 other clones jump over the wall. Annoyed by the situation, he wants to see how many phantoms his opponent can make. He then launches another lightning bolt. The one having fun is the protagonist. Lin wants to see how they are going to catch him. His phantoms have their speed increased. With that, they manage to dodge the attack. Not even the elder expected that. Because of this, the man believes that these are the real targets, so he orders everyone to chase them. But the truth is that the protagonist can use his critical speed on the phantoms as long as he controls them with his aura. At first glance, Lai Wushuang thinks the plan is very simple. But thinking for a minute, mastering this technique in just 1 day is something even she couldn't do. Controlling the phantoms at high speed would be even harder. Lai Wushuang tells them to take the chance and run. But the protagonist says no, because once he releases the phantoms, the Wuji people will notice immediately. She then wants to know what they can do. Our hero says they have to go to the marketplace. There, they will use their trump card. Sad and alone, there's the same vendor from before who realized that he lost his chance to become rich by capturing the girl. But the protagonist appears right on time, saying that life has given him another opportunity. The protagonist is happy to see him. Frightened, the man thought our hero was at the mansion. Apparently, the vendor was not expecting this visit. But our hero doesn't have time to tell the story. Everyone present tries to capture Lin, and that makes the protagonist angry. With a quick move, he takes down everyone in the room. Then, Lin Jing collects the items. Our hero is happy that he took everything they had, including an advanced detoxification pill. Without thinking twice, he puts the medicine right into the girl's mouth. Then, he waits for the result. Lai Wushuang announces that she is almost completely recovered. There's only a little poison left in her blood. But our hero is surprised to discover that his companion is at level 3 of Jindin, even though she's so young. Proud, she says she is the youngest talent in the entire clan. But she rethinks her words. He is more talented than she is. Now that she has recovered, the second phase of the plan will begin. Lin Jing runs through the city square. The elder approaches with his blade, but he only hits smoke. At the same time, a bright light comes from inside the city. Everyone there recognizes that the signal comes from the market area. The leader believes that his targets took advantage of the confusion and went to attack that region. He orders everyone to go in that direction. Lin Jing knows they are coming. The protagonist grabs the girl and activates the talisman. At the same time, a 20 times critical is activated. At that instant, the hall doors are opened and the place is invaded by the Wuji men. But they pass by the protagonists without noticing their presence. After searching everywhere, the men discover that everyone present is lifeless. The elder then believes that his targets have returned to the Lord's mansion. Quickly, they are alone again. The best part of all this is that they are close to the city exit. Now they just have to hope that everyone from the Wuji clan is running toward the castle. The elder arrives, ordering Lord Kai to hand over his targets. Then the city captain comes with the message that the people they are looking for have already left. But he can't believe it. His warriors have searched everywhere. Only the mansion is left. As a sign of goodwill, the captain gives them free access to see for themselves. Without fear of the consequences, he orders his men to search the property. Sometime later, one of the Wuji soldiers comes to report that the targets were not found in the mansion. The elder cannot accept it, so he starts blaming the captain for hiding the people they are looking for. That's when the soldier reminds him that just because they allowed the Wuji warriors to enter their castles doesn't mean that Lord Qi fears them. After those words, he orders the gates to close. But the elder cannot believe the humiliation he is experiencing. At that moment, he feels a pain in his chest and collapses hard on the ground. The funny thing is that not even Lord Kai expected that the protagonist would actually manage to escape. This gives more hope for the event that will happen 3 months from now. Meanwhile, the Wuji leaders scold their soldiers for letting the targets escape. Fortunately for them, the traitor from Qianyuan is already on the move, so they hope to capture the girl. A colorful lightning bolt crosses the sky like a rainbow. Lai Wushuang asks her companion while flying why he is still feeling nervous if they manage to escape. Our hero explains that outside the walls, any encounter will be resolved with a direct confrontation. Both continue flying over the forest. What makes them stop is something Lin Jing spots. A huge ship hovers above them. Without thinking twice, our hero already draws his sword, ready for a fight. But Lai Wushuang warns that this ship belongs to the Qianyuan. Apparently, they came to pick her up. With that, they land on the deck. Who she finds is her uncle Mu Changshen, who personally came to escort her home. She explains to our hero that this man is her second uncle and one of the most trustworthy possible. And besides that, he is in the 5th stage of Jindan. The protagonist then greets Mu. That's when the uncle says that for the good job escorting the girl, he will be well rewarded when they arrive. Suddenly, the man changes from a serious face to a very cute one to speak to his niece. He leads them to a huge room. Mu says that our hero is not qualified to enter the main hall with them, so he will go to another room with the rest of the soldiers. But Lai Wushuang doesn't like all seeing her savior being treated this way. Unfortunately, those are the rules. But our hero says it's no problem. He's more concerned about the girl who is still recovering. She feels a bit embarrassed seeing how caring he is. Lai Wushuang asks her companion to rest, and when they arrive, she will make a point of looking for him. With that, the protagonist is escorted to another room. But his intuition activates right on time. Quickly, the protagonist manages to dodge the attack coming from behind. Our hero can't believe that the bad luck of a simple escort mission has turned into something so complicated that he's now fighting a traitor. The warriors who attack the protagonist are certain that this fight will be easy due to their level. Lin Jing ignores them and starts thinking that these little soldiers wouldn't do this on their own, so it was all planned by Mu. Both disappear in a second. Our hero prepares for the attack, because he will show them the way to the Valley of Shadows. With one strike, the 2 attackers are defeated. Without even looking back, Lin hopes that his friend is okay. The other warriors on the ship find it strange how their companions are taking so long to deal with a weak guest. One of the men believes they must be having fun with the victim. Without even realizing it, the man is struck by a blade. He didn't even see Lin approaching. The others present can't believe their companions were defeated. Our hero tells them not to worry because he will make sure they all meet in the other world, so they can chat forever. With one sweep of his blade, everyone goes flying. The funny thing is that the critical triggers are still pretty low. Our hero hopes that the next opponents can do better. Mu asks his niece to forgive him, but he could never allow a mere disciple in the same room as her. Lai Wushuang simply says she understands his intentions. After that, her uncle offers the best recovery tea he has. Excited, the girl thanks him. Without suspecting anything, she drinks the liquid. Just the way Mu wanted since, as he himself says, she is a very important person. But those words make the girl suspicious. Her body starts to weaken again, and she immediately understands what is happening. Without his mask, her uncle reveals that he never expected her to escape the ambush that Broken Dragon had prepared. With that, she now knows that Mu is the infiltrated traitor. But her uncle says that he doesn't have enough power for all of this alone. Lai Wushuang can't believe there's another family member who's a turncoat. Mu laughs at the ignorance of the girl and her father, but the girl is sure that Lin Jing is coming to save her. With pure malice, the man proudly says that her friend must have already lost his life by now. But at that moment, a voice appears saying it came to disappoint him. Lin Jing appears very much alive right in front of him. Mu, unfortunately, has to admit that he underestimated the boy. but someone at the third stage of foundation is still too weak for him. Lai Wushuang then asks what he thinks about her, but her uncle doesn't understand how someone poisoned can be fine. She explains that her partner taught her not to go around drinking mysterious liquids, so she took an antidote before entering the room. Then she used her spiritual energy to cleanse herself. All she had to do after that was buy time for her friend. Today her goal is to eliminate all the damage to her clan. But Mu is sure that he cannot be defeated by her or anyone there, and from now on he will stop treating his niece kindly. Her uncle launches a black claw at Lai Wushuang. The girl creates a pedal shield. With that, she manages to hold back the attack, but even so she feels the effects of the spell. Her uncle comments that she is very confident for thinking they were on the same level. Lin Jing takes the opportunity to attack from behind. Unfortunately, Mu sees the strike coming, and he manages to react in time. A black lightning bolt heads toward the sword. The tip of the blade touches the magic and slices through, opening a path toward the target. But even so, his opponent manages to dodge. Fortunately, the blade still lands a cut, and that drives the warrior mad. Now he throws a magic hand. Our hero then activates an 11 times speed critical. With a step back, Lin dodges the damage just in time. For some reason, Mu's watching someone on a low level manage to dodge all his attacks. Once again, the Great Hand of Darkness comes to grab him, and this time, our hero was crushed like a mosquito. Lin Jing admits that the enemy is now too strong for him. Mu takes advantage of the boy being on the ground and prepares to attack again. Lai Wushuang then summons a sword of light. Hundreds of them fly toward her uncle. At this moment, Mu realizes the danger he is in. In response, he creates a golden armor, but that doesn't intimidate the girl. Her uncle then receives all the energy swords into his body. The armor even starts to crack. Pieces of it begin breaking off, and little by little, the armor starts falling apart, until it is destroyed. This time, it's Lai Wushuang who has the best technique. Seeing this scene, the protagonist starts thinking that he better learn new abilities, or else in the future he'll just be a burden. Mu then starts laughing loudly. That wasn't the reaction they were expecting. Unfortunately, the last attack wasn't able to hit his energy core, so his body began to recover. Lai Wushuang collapses without energy. She then says that now it's up to the protagonist. Of course, he accepts the task without a problem. Lin Jing takes all the recovery pills he can, activating every possible health critical. In his new form, he challenges Mu for the next round, but someone who seemed far away teleports forward ready to attack. Already out of patience, Mu finds it offensive that a mere brat thinks he can win the fight. Lin dodges the incoming strike, but that's not the end of the fight, Mu shouts. At impressive speed, they fight equally across the hall. One of the blows even passes very close. More and more, Mu starts losing his patience with the boy. Lin Jing jokes, saying he's just testing the old man since the last strikes seems to have hurt him quite a bit. In a state of rage, Mu activates a spell called Blue Prism. A cube appears, trapping them both. Lai Wushuang explains that this is a trap that keeps shrinking endlessly. Now it's harder for our hero to escape the attacks, but our hero says this is exactly what he wanted. Lin Jing attacks with his sword. He is counting on the criticals being very high in this fight. Both strikes collide at the same time. The explosion that occurs cracks the magic cube. Mu can't believe it. Lin Jing manages to hit him right in the heart. Out of time and options, he begs our hero for mercy. The protagonist then says he will ask one question, and it's better the man doesn't lie. Mo swears to tell everything as long as he can live. Even though Lin Jing doesn't really believe it, he ends up agreeing. But the protagonist doesn't forget to take his reward. That's the sign of victory. The first question is whether there are other traitors. The uncle swears there aren't, that the one who sent him was Lai Changji. Our hero wants to know how this person contacts him, and Mu explains that it's through a voice transmitter. The conclusion is that no one knows about the current situation, so they can still return to the clan. Lai Wushuang wants to know why her other uncle betrayed her, since he is the most trusted person in her family. But Mu says he knows nothing, he only received orders and that's it. Lai Wushuang, curious about what's going to happen to her uncle, hears the protagonist explain that he will give him a pill to disable his powers, just like what happened with the girl. Mu accepts, thinking that this type of poison doesn't work on someone of his level, but the protagonist makes a point of feeding it directly into his mouth. And on top of that, to make sure he swallowed the pill, our hero slaps his face. Mo swears he will get revenge for this humiliation when he gets the chance. Unfortunately for him, the effect is immediate. Right away, he is shocked by what he just ate. To him, it makes no sense for this pill to have such a powerful effect. And Lin Jing's look toward him is one of complete disdain. The protagonist now orders the man to contact Lai Changji and tell him that his granddaughter has lost her life. As soon as the man touches the talisman, a voice asks if Mu succeeded in his mission. And when he receives the terrible news, the man explodes with rage because he sees his blackmail plan in danger. Mu takes the blame and begs for mercy. Lai Changji says he will have to lie and tells everyone that the girl was kidnapped, hoping this way to continue his plan. Now that the transmission is over, Mu begs to live. Lai Wushuang says that his fate now belongs to her father. Meanwhile, bad news arrives. The clan leader becomes worried. Upon receiving the news of what happened to his daughter, he is in disbelief. Lin Changji says it was Mu himself who confirmed that the girl was captured. The clan leader doesn't even know what to do at this moment. It is then that the man puts his plan into action and suggests that they offer the spiritual veins in exchange for Lai Wushwang's safety. But the leader says that besides those things being very important to the clan, his father needs them to recover. But Lai Changji reminds him that his daughter is the true future of the entire sect and she is in danger. The leader decides to wait for Mu to return so he can hear in more detail what happened. And if necessary, then they can start the negotiations. And surely the traitor is pleased with how things are going. The next day, a group of men waits at the palace gates. Lai Changji says that Mu is already arriving. The great golden ship approaches. The ramp lowers and everyone is ready to receive Mu. And alone he approaches. Lai Changji then orders his subordinate to quickly explain how the king's daughter was captured by the Wuji. With no answer, the man starts losing patience. The one who asks the question now, wanting the truth, is the great leader. Mu answers that he doesn't know. Lai Changji gets angry and starts pressuring the man to be careful with his words. At that moment, Lai Wushwang appears, saying that her uncle failed to capture her. Of course, the traitor has no idea what's going on, but he knows he's screwed. And he also understands that Mu betrayed him. The one who is happy to see the girl is her father. Without thinking twice, she runs to hug him. The old man even cries, thinking he would never see his princess again. Lai Wushwang says that this was only possible because Lin Jing protected her the whole time. Our hero bows and greets the Lord. Seeing that it is just a boy in the third stage of foundation, he can't believe that this kid could even protect himself, let alone protect his daughter. But she swears that she is telling the truth and that the protagonist deserves to be well rewarded. To calm her down, he agrees. Lai Wushwang says that her uncle must be very disappointed to see her alive. Her uncle tries to handle the situation by saying that he is glad that she is well. The girl seems to enjoy the situation. Then she orders Mu to reveal the truth to everyone. Of course, he immediately panics. He swears that he had no choice. Mu is about to say that everything was Lai Changji's idea, but something happens to him before that. A terrible pain hits him hard. Everyone there becomes worried. Apparently, Mu is suffering from some kind of dark curse, the kind that controls the bewitched person. His life belongs to someone else. Unfortunately, the pain is so intense that he doesn't survive. Everyone falls silent. One of the men approaches to check. He puts a finger near his nose. With that, he confirms that Mu has died. Our hero wasn't expecting this move from Lai Changji. He watches the culprit who's very close to them. Luckily, his master taught him this technique because it was by a thread. Lai Changji tells his brother that probably Mu was being controlled and gave him false information. But the girl doesn't hesitate to point out that she knows her uncle is responsible for this situation. With a fake smile, he reminds the girl that her clan doesn't have soul control techniques like the one that was used. The clan leader decides to end the discussion, saying that his brothers are the most trustworthy people in the kingdom. The order is that everything was a misunderstanding and that everyone should forget this situation. But of course, no one there will forget. Lai Changji promises that he will deal with our protagonist, and Lin Jing swears that he will continue giving his all. Once again, the clan leader asks his younger brother if he knew that Mu was being controlled. But Lai Changji swears that this must be a plan from their enemies to set brother against brother. The good thing is that despite all this mess, his daughter has finally returned. Then he asks his brother how they should reward Lin Jing. Lai Changji says that, in his opinion, there is something wrong with this story, and he suspects the boy. The leader also finds it strange that someone on the low level managed to do all this. Probably it was luck. So the traitor asks what his great brother suggests. Lai Changking says that his daughter grew up inside the castle and never had contact with outsiders, and afraid of what this could become, he wants to cut the ties between them. His brother suggests that they give the boy a good reward so he will leave. But if he refuses to accept, it means the two have feelings for each other. Then the boy must be expelled from the castle. The leader then agrees with this plan. Lin Jing is currently thinking that he can go back to focusing on training his cultivation. He then swallows one of the pills and activates the critical effect. His energy then starts to grow exponentially. Lin manages to reach the 5th level in the foundation stage. Our hero is satisfied with his abilities. Anyone else wouldn't have survived taking all those pills. Unfortunately, he has already used almost all of them, so now he needs to find some extra money. A group sent by the Lord offers, as a reward for saving the girl, 10 enhancement pills and the chance to choose one of the great yellow techniques. The protagonist thanks them with honor, but he can't help but think that the reward was very simple. He was expecting to gain a new status or something like that, even though choosing a new technique is something that only inner disciples have the chance to do. At the moment, even though his cultivation is no longer limited, his fighting skills are few, and he needs to learn new things to stop relying only on strength. Inside the temple, one of the disciples is in disbelief that the protagonist not only survived, but also escorted the leader's own daughter back to the clan. One of the boys is sure that this whole story was just luck. Lai Wushwang's brother is certain that she is lying to cover for the boy. He should deal with the protagonist, but he doesn't want to waste time, so one of his followers says he will do it. The brother says that internal fights are forbidden, so he must force Lin Jing into an official duel and finish him. Our hero presents himself asking for permission to climb the stairs and choose a great yellow technique. Upon hearing this, everyone around starts gossiping about the protagonist and his feats. Lai Changji says that if our hero appears, this man has the duty to find out his true strength. They don't have to worry if they act recklessly. Upon seeing the protagonist, the man remembers this conversation. With that, he says that only true disciples have this right and our hero does not have the proper qualifications. Lin Jing shows the card that the Lord himself gave him, granting him permission. But the man insists that someone of his low level does not have permission to proceed. Those listening around completely agree with what was said. Lin Jing then responds by asking who the man thinks he is to override the Lord's orders. At the same time, the disciple releases his aura. The other students find the difference in strength between the two funny. They are sure the protagonist is far from that level. Lin Jing says that conflicts in the clan are forbidden, but the man says that he just accidentally released a bit of his energy. Since that's the case, our hero decides to do the same. Upon releasing his energy, the critical effect is activated 15 times. The man cannot understand how a boy of his level has such a strong spiritual pressure. Everyone watching even has trembling legs. Again, Lin asks if now he can pass. The man even thinks about opposing again, but our hero increases the aura pressure by 30 times. The impact is so great that it even injures him, and with no choice, the man opens the way. Everyone is in shock at this scene. Lin Jing can now continue his path, and he climbs the stairs to his objective. On the floor in question, he sees various types of yellow techniques, but none seem to suit him. At that moment, our hero notices something he hadn't seen before, a book containing a sword technique. The instructions state that this attack is not limited to form, anything can work as a sword. For some reason, our hero has never seen anyone practice this technique before. Unfortunately, one of the pages is missing, but our hero doesn't see much problem with that. With his critical system, this ability will be very powerful. On the first floor, Lin shows which book he is taking. The man says that according to the rules, to avoid wasting anyone's time, only complete techniques can be learned. On top of that, the man looks down on the protagonist, saying that he's no kind of genius for wanting to learn an ability that no one has ever mastered. Lin asks if there's a problem if he trains right there, so the disciple says he has at most 1 hour for that. Everyone around thinks it's absurd and a waste of an opportunity what our hero is doing. The book explains that it will teach how to create a sword made of kai. For some reason, the protagonist feels that the person who wrote these instructions held the pen like a sword, writing a work of art. While reading, Lin Jing learns something incredible. For him, it's a very different feeling, the feeling of being face to face with a true master. And this master is capable of summoning a giant sword. With his eyes, he memorizes everything, internalizing all the lessons. Time is up, and the man orders the protagonist to return the book and leave. The people observe that Lin Jing didn't even blink the entire time, but to them, it was still a waste of time. Our hero focuses his kai and summons several energy swords. The disciple even falls down from what he is seeing. No one can believe he managed to learn this technique. Even with the book incomplete, Lin Jing succeeded in his goal. The protagonist then cancels the ability. Then he picks up the book from the floor. All he can think is that even incomplete, this is the best ability that exists in the world. Who could have left it behind, and where is the rest of the book? Someone then calls for Lin Jing. Outside the martial arts gate pavilion, the group leader asks if the protagonist is the one responsible for saving the chief's daughter. Lin asks if they need something. The boy says that our hero was very disrespectful for wanting to escort Lai, since he's of a low level. Our hero then replies that he doesn't want his time to be wasted. It's at this moment that the boy challenges Lin Jing to a duel. Everyone around is cheering for Zhou as he reached the 7th stage of foundation in just 2 years. The protagonist finds it bizarre that the boy is picking a fight with him just to show off to others. Zhao says he already expected this cowardice. Our hero just replies that he's no one's father to be playing around with kids. The boy knows he needs to force a fight no matter what. To provoke him, he reminds our hero that it was Zhao himself who abandoned him on the battlefield to his own fate. That catches Lin's attention, because he remembers these brats from his memories. Zhao is happy about this because he knows the protagonist must want revenge. But what our hero wants is his necklace back. The boy replies that his friend Lai Wuxian has probably sold it a long time ago. Lin wants to know who bought it. Zhao says that if he beats him in a fight, he'll tell him everything. Our hero says he didn't want to cause trouble, but he asked for it. The boy is very pleased to have gotten what he wanted. He then orders his friends to call more people to watch the fight. Zhao says that now it's too late for our hero to run. A group forms around the fighting arena. Some disciples know that the person who's going to fight is the one who saved the leader's daughter, and that Zhu wants to teach him a lesson for that. Some even wonder if Lin is actually strong, but the expectation is that the fight will end in 5 moves at most. Someone warns Zhao that the protagonist just mastered a sword technique, and he better be careful. At that moment, the boy remembers that not long ago, his opponent was just a trainee, and now he's already at the 5th stage. Certainly a very fast evolution. He even starts to wonder if, by some miracle, his opponent really got stronger. But Zhou puts that thought aside and goes into the fight intending to finish it quickly. The rules of the clan duel are clear. It's a fight until someone surrenders or is knocked unconscious. but the boy asks for a fight to the death. The referee says he doesn't know if that's allowed, so he'll check. A person shows up and says that they usually don't allow that kind of thing, but Ju gives him a sharp look, and the man understands that Lai Wuxian is behind this setup. With that, the duel is approved. Lin Jing finds it funny that nobody even asked for his opinion. They just started the fight. Even though this is a forbidden practice, it was still allowed, which means that this Lai Wuxian has quite a lot of influence. The Zhao says that originally he was going to spare the protagonist's life, but now he will start with his strongest attack to end this duel as quickly as possible. The boy concentrates a large amount of psi into his sword and charges forward without thinking twice. Jab is certain that this strike can defeat anyone it hits. He just didn't expect one thing, that his sword would shatter into thousands of pieces. Without realizing it, Lin is already standing in front of him and hits him with a strong punch in the stomach, throwing him backward like a rag doll. The entire crowd is left speechless. The one considered the strongest among the disciples was easily defeated. In the end, to Lin Jing, someone at the foundation level is nothing worth noting. He simply blows the dust off his fist. The protagonist then walks up to the boy, who has just woken up from being knocked out. Lin Jing wants to know where his necklace is. Zhao, begging to be spared, says that they sold it at the pavilion. Our hero says that the fight can't stop since he wanted a duel to the death. Lin goes to step on him, but a lightning attack comes in his direction. The protagonist dodges the attack with an 81 times critical. The one who stops the fight is the referee himself. Lin Jing says that according to the clan's own rules in a duel, no one from outside can interfere. The man says that among the disciples, it's normal for them to fight each other all the time, but the referee is nervous about being caught up in this mess because of Lai Wuxian. Our hero insists that the fight must go on until one of them perishes. The referee insists it's just a duel, and he reminds that the clan forbids this kind of deathmatch. And Zhou's friends think the protagonist is being too cruel, wanting to go all the way with this. But Lin loses it because just a minute ago it was perfectly fine for the boy to try to end his life, but now that it's the other way around, suddenly he can't do the same. The referee insists that our hero should drop this. Everyone present agrees that the fight is over, there's no reason to continue, and they show no mercy. But the protagonist is already losing his patience. He then challenges anyone to try and stop him. The referee says he is at the 3rd level of Jindan, and that it would be better not to force him to fight. Lin grabs one of the swords. For the protagonist, this wouldn't be the first time he defeats someone at the Jindan level, so he throws the energy blade toward the boy. The referee then creates a shield to defend himself. Lin immediately launches a rain of swords, and he swears that not even God will save that kid's life. But the man seems pretty confident he can block this attack, except that with each strike, multiple criticals unlock in sequence, to the point that the damage multiplies by 71 times. Then the shield shatters. The referee falls among the disciples, defeated, unable to understand how something like this could happen. No one can understand how someone so strong was so easily defeated. The protagonist is satisfied with his new ability, because critical power of this attack is extremely powerful. But at that moment, a voice orders our hero not to move. Several guards come flying toward the arena. Zhao realizes that he has a chance to escape at this moment. The boy gets up and cries for help, but Lin appears behind him with a sword in hand. As promised, the duel was until the end of one's life, and the protagonist ends the fight. No one there can believe that Lin actually did it. The referee claims that the protagonist just committed a crime in front of the law enforcers. Not even the warriors themselves can believe that he had the courage to do what he did right in front of them. Lin Jing says that he only took Zhao's life according to the rules of the duel. The leader of the guards doesn't accept the excuses, especially because he also wants to eliminate the protagonist to please his master. But the protagonist says he was only defending himself, and the one who made the duel rules was the boy himself. At that moment, the soldiers surround him. Lai Wuxian then orders everyone to stay where they are. She stands in front of the protagonist and orders everyone to back off, because she challenges anyone to dare lay a single finger on her friend. One of the soldiers asks his boss what they should do. The man explains that Lin Jing committed a crime and has to be arrested. But the girl finds their concept of law funny. First of all, for them, they should arrest the referee, since even knowing that this type of duel was forbidden, he still allowed it to happen. The soldier says that he hadn't done an investigation yet. Since the man admits that he doesn't know the whole story, he decides to leave. So the video ends here. If you don't want to miss the next part, activate the notification bell, and see you next time on Tob's channel.